Hello everybody. Today I'm going to cover what is PWDIS when you're talking about a hard drive. What is that feature? Do you need it? Why would you need it? And how is it helpful? So stay tuned and I'll show you all those and why you would need it. So you may be wondering, well, what is PWDIS? PWDIS is a power disable feature that will show up on the hard drive specifications or the list of features, and it will be called PWDIS. And PWDIS is a remote administration feature that allows you to easily power cycle a drive so that you can perform a hard reset on that hard drive. It also gives you some extra features such as power saving, staggering the spin up of your hard drives if they were in like a NAS or a SAN, and you can perform a hard drive reset. Now, while these features are nice, your computer, your NAS, your SAN, or your external enclosures, the backplane of them must actually support this feature in order to be able to utilize it. Because if they don't have that feature, they're not going to be able to utilize it. So some of the older enclosures may not have that, so you couldn't use it. So is this PWDIS feature helpful? Well, it's only really helpful if you need the hard drive in the enterprise environment. So you may be wondering, well, why is that the case? Well, so most, if not all of the consumer and even some of the small business appliances such as a NAS, a SAN, they wouldn't utilize this feature. So because of that, you can get the feature, but it's not going to help you a whole lot. So what else do you think would be helpful for me to know about it? Well, some things you may want to know is if you buy a hard drive that does not have the feature, you wouldn't be able to add it later because it requires a unique circuit board that is actually on the SATA hard drive. See, one of these hard drives right here actually has it, but another one that I have does not have it. So you actually have to order the drive with it because this one doesn't have it and I can't add it later on. So if that's a feature you need, you'll need to make sure you have it when you order the hard drive. The second thing is if you put a new SATA or SAS hard drive with this feature into a legacy chassis or enclosure, the drive might not spin up. So there's nothing wrong with the hard drive. It's just what happens is the legacy power supplies, they provide 3.3 volts to pin number 3. Now what happens is this causes the hard drive to get stuck in a hard drive reset. And when it's stuck in hard drive reset, it will never fully turn on. So it keeps it from spinning up and booting up so that you can access the information. Now, there are ways for you to fix that. They have a cable. I'll be glad to show you that. It's a Molex connector, and it allows for it to bypass that 3.3 volts. Another thing you should know is that most of the new chassis vendors support this feature. So if you do purchase a chassis or enclosure, please make sure that it supports this feature so that you can utilize it in the future if you need it. And if you do buy one of the newer chassis and you make sure it has the PWDIS feature, you won't have any problems if you buy one that has the PWDIS feature or if it does not have the PWDIS feature going forward. So I also had some questions and answers about PWDIS that I thought I would share with you. So the first one is, why would you want this feature? Well, the power disable feature provides an easy way to power cycle a drive in order to perform a hard reset. This can be very useful if a drive locks up for some reason and you don't want to have to send a technician to the physical rack and manually unplug the drive and then plug it back in order to power cycle the drive. Now, a smart chassis can provide a management tool to do this function automatically, but if it's not a smart chassis, it won't. So that's where that PWDIS feature comes in. So why would you want this feature on SATA? Well, since so many SATA storage devices are deployed in storage systems that use SAS backplanes, this SATA feature is compatible with the SAS implementation and will work properly when used on a SAS backplane that supports this feature. So if I am using SAS hard drives, should I be concerned? No, this feature is available for use on newer SAS chassis. Older SAS chassis will ignore this feature. Specifically, SAS hard drives never defined an alternate usage to pin number 3, and therefore legacy systems will have it as a no connect. With SATA, the story is different. Some legacy SATA power supplies are tied to pin 1, pin 2, and pin 3 together to 3.3 volts, resulting in pin 3 being permanently powered high, and thus it sends a permanent hard drive reset signal to the hard drive. So if I'm using SATA hard drives, should I be concerned? Yes. Please educate yourself about the feature to determine if you require it. The safe bet is to order SATA hard drives that do not include this feature. Well, how will I know if there is a problem? Well, the hard drive will not spin up or power up. So if I install a drive with the feature into a system that does not support it, or vice versa, can I damage the hard drive? No. You can safely plug a hard drive either with or without the feature into a new or legacy system. If the legacy system is providing power to pin number 3, the only side effect is that the hard drive will not spin up. Likewise, if you have a new chassis that supports the power disable feature, a hard drive without the feature will just ignore the hard drive reset request and remain powered up. Okay, so if I want this feature, is there any reason I should be convinced otherwise? No, the hard drive will not spin up if a legacy chassis provides power to pin 3. They don't want for customers to return their drives because they think they're defective. The problem is just that the legacy chassis doesn't support PWDIS. A smart customer, which you will be aware of this potential issue. So if I order a hard drive without the feature, can I somehow enable it? No, as I previously mentioned, this feature is hardwired. You have to actually have it on a board because it sends a high-level signal to pin 3. Special circuitry on the hard drive physically removes the power to the system on the chip, or the brains of the hard drive. This external circuitry cannot be configured by firmware. It has to have a logic board. So when this feature was introduced on SAS hard drives, when was that? Well, it was with the introduction of 12G SAS hard drives, a new SAS standard which redefined the pin number 3. They changed it from 3.3 volts to a hard drive reset. So they've implemented this with Western Digital hard drives. They've implemented it with Hitachi hard drives. Almost every single manufacturer supports this now. So just make sure when you're purchasing a hard drive, if you want it, please look for that feature. And if you don't, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you don't get one that has it so it'll work in the legacy system. And so what if I have a legacy system that uses a hard drive that has this new feature and the drive doesn't spin up? That's where you can easily fix it by using a Molex to SATA power connector. And here's a picture of one right here. So what exactly is the problem and how does the Molex to SATA connector solve it? Okay, so legacy SATA power cables use pin number 3 to supply 3.3 volts of power to the hard drive. The new feature uses pin number 3 to perform a hard reset. So if you plug a new drive into an old system, pin number 3 may be hardwired to keep the drive in hard reset mode so that the drive will never spin up. So what it does is you change the power connector and it effectively removes the power from pin number 3 and allows the drive to spin up normally. That's great. So do I lose any other benefits when choosing a hard drive without this feature? No. The drive behaves exactly the same, and pin number 3 is ignored. With the concerns about legacy products, why was this new feature introduced? Well, it was introduced because it was an industry standard. The power disable feature was originally introduced in the T10 standards body as a new SAS feature. And the feature enables the initiator or SAS expander to disable power to the SAS device. If the storage device has encountered a hung interface condition, this feature provides the host system a way to power off the device without having to support independent power switches for every power connector, or require physical removal and reinsertion of the device at the physical connector or the device itself. So SATA hard drives are often deployed in storage enclosures that use SAS backplanes. So it is important that this feature be implemented on SATA devices as well. In an SAS system that support the power disable feature, the host can now remotely power off and then power on the hard drive to reset a device that is in the hung condition. So are there SATA specifications that explain this? Yes. Almost every single hard drive manufacturer has different configurations for their hard drives that will have these specifications. They'll tell you which revision supports it, they'll tell you which hard drives support it, and you can look as you're going through picking out your hard drive to look at the specifications to see if it's supported or if it's not supported. And you can also look between SATA and SAS. Most SAS hard drives will have it. Some of the SATA ones will have it. Thanks so much, everybody. I hope this was helpful on what is PWDIS when you're referring to a hard drive, what you could use it for, and if it's helpful in your situation. So stay tuned for next time. I'll put up some more great videos for you. Please continue to like and subscribe, and until next time, bye.